Hi guys, subscribe and comment what you thought of the video, thank you. This story begins with our protagonist named Chu. Although he also proclaims himself as the absolute king of emotional comfort, his job is to comfort and repair the hearts of the beautiful ladies, making them forget about their ex-partners, thus making them fall in love. When their boyfriends treat them badly, he intervenes and defends them. But many times after that some girls want to spend the night with him, but he is only interested in money. It was a good side job. His main job was to kill people. All the girls he went out with for work ended up wanting to be with him. Although maintaining this lifestyle is not easy to maintain, and often not enough for the month, if it were not for women would not put so much value on his face. Frankly, he would like to retire and be supported by a woman permanently. Suddenly there is a strong light in front of him, and some guys appear. Apparently our protagonist did some harm to them in the past. Some of them hold him down, while he asks, "Who are you? Are you Chu? You are the popular man among the ladies these days. Don't you realize who you have provoked? We are going to kill you. What a disappointment. I heard you were the best. Aren't you a little weak now? Let's teach this guy a lesson. Bring the heavy stuff and give him a lesson." Suddenly they appear, these girls carrying with them a huge surprise. Seeing this they all start to vomit. The prota yells at them to stop. He loved a good practical joke from time to time, but this is too much. Where did you find these perverts? Oh, I like practical fun. In my industry I specialize in pills, strengtheners. You see, not everyone has libido like you, so some people need help, and we can see a lot of different kinds of pills, thus forcing our protagonist to drink them. What are they waiting for? These freaky guys pounce on our prota. The pills were starting to take effect. Maybe he should kill them. Suddenly a tab appears. It warns him that he has 10 seconds before he decides or his body will explode. The countdown starts. The prota thinks he can't die, let alone exploded next to these freaky guys. Fate has decided that you are worthy. The weapon system will be inherited. Will you accept? Since fate will save me from this misfortune, is there really a choice? Tell me, you guys. Editor, what would you have done in the situation of our protagonist? I would have accepted without hesitation. See you. I'm going on a trip to another world, says the protagonist, thus pressing the yes button. The system welcomes you to a completely new world. The ultimate weapon system is online. Suddenly the protagonist appears lying down. Apparently they are healing the protagonist with some kind of magic. He wakes up, and a girl asks him if he is still alive. The protagonist is surprised and asks her why he does that kind of thing in a place like this. Chow wonders where he really is. The protagonist, realizing his situation, thinks he could easily get used to it. He asks her nicely to tell him exactly where he is. Looks like I'm lost. She commands him to shut up. But our protagonist gets excited seeing her so close, so he ends up hitting him, knocking him unconscious. He hears a strange conversation about him, something about that the girl, while he was sleeping, she absolved him some of her power, and also wants to kill him. This is bad. He was hiding behind some bushes. When he tried to get up, he realized that the girl really knocked him out. He even had pain in one kidney. The woman here is really a fighter. I guess she understands what he means. He slips and the system warns him that his health level is too low. This system looks like a video game. Can't believe he was about to die. My head is dizzy and I don't know what to do. Suddenly another girl appears. She tries to explain herself, but flies off with a clatter, falls into a lake and tries to escape, but is stopped by a guy with a sword, who has entered our county. What is all this fuss? The girl from before notifies him that she found this spy behind the bushes. She tells him he doesn't need to explain, so he goes to the mountain sect. He ignores that man. Men have no sense. I will process this waste myself. Handle me personally, thinks the prota. He realizes that the women here are really fierce. She points her sword at him and warns him that he only has one chance. Who are you? The prota knows that if he tells the truth they will not believe him and will kill him. This is a very sharp sword. She angrily asks him, where are you looking? She was about to kill him. He stops her by asking her if this is her first time. You have never met a transmigrator before. Maybe you would like to tell him what we did at the lake before. She tells him he is shameless and proceeds to attack him. But someone stops the girl's attack. The sword falls near an important place. The girl from before tells him that he has a spiritual body out of the ordinary. He can be useful to me. Send him to the furnace department to practice more. If you come out of that place alive, you can dream about me all day long. Maybe what we did before will be repeated. Days later our prota was in a bath. He had learned a lot these days. This land was controlled by women. According to the system map, this is the wild continent. where humans and monsters coexist. The human race seems to be in a corner of the continent. The rest of the continent is ruled by monstrous races or non-human sentient beings. The battles against these beasts can only depend on superhumans called cultivators. Therefore, those who cultivate can rule over others. Coincidentally, in this world, men have more difficulty when it comes to cultivating. Basically, it is a world where women are superior, so men are their slaves. Chow cries when he realizes that the system sent him to a world ruled by evil women. The system tells him that there is no refund, but since he has survived 72 hours, do you want a gift package for beginners as compensation? The Prota accepts without hesitation. He wonders what kind of crop it will be. When he opens it, a large menu is displayed, of different types of weapons. The Prota says he could get used to this. He takes a weapon, and is surprised to see that it materializes instantly. He spends some more points on ammunition. In his main life he was also an assassin. He thought he could retire, but apparently he needs that experience. Suddenly someone knocks on the door. He was complaining to our Prota for having been 3 hours in the bathroom. He points the gun at him. In a world completely full of women cultivators, with this system, it shouldn't be very difficult to play with the girls, right? Changing the scenery, we can see the girls from before leaving the palace. The Prota realizes this, and is impressed to see the greatness of the sect. While the Prota walks, some girls see him, and think he is very handsome. Too bad he is a slave. Suddenly we see how many men are carrying someone. And it was this girl, who is called Red Elder. Suddenly some fugitives who were captured arrive. Some women start to hit them, when suddenly, the tiger that was next to the Red Elder attacks them. It hurts one of them, who tried to protect his brother. The Prota is exalted to see this, and the owner of the tiger says that men must remember that here they are slaves, and are not authorized to speak, unless to act otherwise. They will pay the consequences. All are stunned to see the terrible scene. Our Prota thinks that this world is unnecessarily cruel. He did not approve this world. He was going to make sure that girl paid. The Prota arrives at a somewhat strange place. He thinks, the furnace department is really what I think it is. This one asks his partner about what exactly is done in this department. This one tells him that basically in this place, they cultivate skills to become stronger. She tells him that he should feel proud few men get to be chosen. The Prota thinks that if it wasn't for the system, maybe he would need to cut his little friend to cultivate himself into a stronger realm. No thanks. Suddenly some girls arrive. Our Prota realizes that they bring more prisoners of war. He thought that the demons were the bad guys, but he realized that the real bad guys were the women. These girls are competing on which of them has more slaves at their disposal. One of them looks at our Prota. They approach him and start complimenting him. They offer him to go with them and have fun. Since this world is full of superior women, shouldn't he choose the best? This is really that kind of world. He rejects them and tells them to leave. They only look at him as a piece of meat. They get angry. How suddenly one of the slaves falls to the ground, and one of the girls hit him for interrupting her. The protagonist looks angry at what was happening. The girl recommends him not to mix with men like the one he just hit. He had a very nice appearance. I'll give you one more chance. Come with me and have a better life. He slaps her hand and rejects her tempting offer. A person like him couldn't be with someone like her. It would tarnish his reputation as a former MVP host. You couldn't pay the price of my body even with your salary. Where the hell did you get the courage to even talk to me? This one, hearing all this, is extremely angry. How dare you reject me, you idiot? If I break one of your limbs, the cult will be forced to sell you to me. Our Prota unexpectedly hits her. Everyone is stunned as this was unimaginable. He says, yes, I did. I just hit you. Someone very wise once told me that if someone raised their voice at me, I could slap them. This angry one attacks our Prota. The system opens up, and our Prota realizes that the system can absorb spell-like attacks. He could abuse this technique and grow quickly. Someone alerts him to the attack coming from behind him. He turns around, but the attack was already very close, so it hits him squarely. This had not gone so well. Apparently he was too inexperienced in magic to absorb such a powerful attack. Apparently the system can only absorb a certain amount of energy. This one plants itself in front of our protagonist. You seem quite skilled. True, you on fire can't kill you. You dare to stand in front of me and mock me. You really thought you were special. Slaves will be slaves. Today I will use your head as an example for other men who dare to go against me, but suddenly pull out a gun. I didn't come here to be mistreated by people like you. If I get hurt, it's because I allow it, so shut up. Thus hearing a very loud sound all over the place. Changing the scene, we can see the leader. They are informing her that while she was absent she had many losses. Without her authority, the elders will do whatever they want when she is not here. She also asks her what they will do with the unknown guy they found. The leader did not like that comment, and shows his power. Apparently the leader had arrived to a new kingdom. She says, "Now do you know why I left him alone? He is powerful, more than he believes, since our protagonist was the one who helped her reach that new level. Because he absolved his power the day they found him." Suddenly they realized that Chao had eliminated one of the great masters. We can see how our protagonist had finished successfully. Everyone is shocked to see such a scene. Apparently the system also affects his mind. Even being a hired killer, this is too quiet. There is something that inhibits my emotions. There are too many things I still did not know. The system is activated and begins to scan the girl's body. New mission to collect this specimen. The current biological contribution is 1 out of 100. For research purposes, suddenly a golden aura covers our prota. He had obtained a new ability, which is healing. He is surprised to see that the system heals him after the assassination. Apparently the system wants him to collect the information of all the cultivators and habitats in this world, even if they are dead. He is notified that the level 2 weapon system had been unlocked, along with armor and various supplies. The guards appear. The girls order Big Sister to arrest the slave. He had killed Big Sister Hong. Big Sister Hong beats them. They were telling him to do his duty. Who gave you the right to dictate what I should do? An inner core disciple with half a step on the journey of an immortal. He couldn't even beat an ordinary man. Then it's a waste. And you, as soon as you enter our sect, you will not use their secret weapons hidden in our lands. You really thought my lustrum would allow it. This one simply tells him that I am just trying to defend myself. There is no law against that. This one tells him that he has some fangs and sharp mouth. If you can survive the Red Elder's attack, I will allow you to enter the furnace room to test you. Suddenly the tiger from before breaks the door, and we can see how the red old man appears from the sky, and looks at everything that happened. Who dares to kill my own daughter? Who did this? Damn you. Everyone runs away when they feel his power. Such a powerful pressure. He asks the girls, "Is he the one who killed my daughter?" The protagonist says he killed her in self-defense. What are you going to do about it? The girls get angry and tell him to die. Being thus pierced by the sword of the old red man, everyone thought this one was almost dead. But this one stands up, apparently wearing armor under the tunic. He was glad he put on the vest, which is automatically equipped, otherwise he would be dead. "Are you still alive, dwarf?" The girl warns him to be careful. He's carrying some kind of magic weapon. He doesn't want to go with games and ensures victory by launching a powerful magic attack. But our prota throws a smoke bomb, so he dodges it and increases his stats a little. He escapes through one of the sides, so with great agility and precision he shoots him. But without even seeing him, he blocks the attack. That reaction speed is amazing. Do you see the trajectory of the bullet? The prota throws a stun bomb, which causes a tremendous reaper light. The prota takes advantage and appears in front of her. He shoots her directly in the head. It seemed that everything was over, but she had activated an ability. He was surprised. Such a powerful attack coming from such a small thing. "You forced me to enter this form. That is unforgivable. You are dancing with death." Due to the enormous aura and power of the old red man, the protagonist is thrown backwards. "Enough games. I will send you straight to hell," thus throwing a huge fireball at him. He is very scared and regrets having made such a person angry. Suddenly someone shouts to stop, and stops the attack. "Who dares to stop me?" The relieved prota realizes that he is still alive. His savior announces to him that the chief of the sect ordered not to touch our prota. As long as she is here, no one can ignore the chief's orders. This furious one throws himself against her, and a surprising clash of powers begins. Hundreds of explosions can be seen in the sky. The prota is stunned to see such power. The red old man whistles, and the tiger jumps to attack our protagonist. He dodges them by the hair. The girl from before tries to save him, but the old red man prevents him. The prota throws a grenade at the tiger that explodes. The tiger manages to survive. This enraged attacks our prota. He tries to defend himself as best he can. He only had one grenade left. With a smile he starts to insult the tiger. "What are you waiting for? Silly cat, I have a present for you." He tries to dodge the attack, but the tiger manages to bite his whole arm. This way the protagonist is left without an arm. "That was my arm, silly cat. But well, say goodbye to this world." At that moment, a grenade explodes in the tiger's stomach, so that it explodes into pieces. The system opens and congratulates him for collecting a new species. Basically, for having killed the tiger, the system rebuilt his arm and cured all his wounds. the girl, and without any shred of sanity, he launches an attack from the sky. But suddenly from a tower, something falls and is a shield in the form of a bell which protects the protagonist. This great power came from the boss, Red Elder. Only the Guardian can use the golden bell, and cannot use it twice in one day, so retire, and don't make me repeat it. With revenge in his eyes, he decides to leave. The girl tells him that he really causes a lot of trouble, and orders the guards to send him to the head of the sect. She has summoned him. Before leaving, she wants to do something. She stands in front of the slaves and takes out some bandages, and starts to heal all his wounds. She is happy to say that they are ready. Everyone is surprised to see that he was waking up. The protagonist leaves, but with a smile on his face. Finally, after a shower, he is as good as new. He asks then when will he go to see the boss. Suddenly the system opens again and tells him that he has the charm at the highest level. It was hard not to be so tempting. He discovers that he can see each of his abilities. Suddenly from the system comes out a small tiger. The prota doesn't know what he could use it for, it was very small, and discovers that he can use his little pet as a drone or camera. Finally he goes to the boss. She tells him that she has found out that he has killed one of the big guards. The nervous prota tells her that she wanted to kill him. He was just defending himself. She tells him to give her a reason not to kill him. Our nervous prota thinks that she really shouldn't want to kill him, otherwise she wouldn't have protected him. He takes out a weapon from his system and tells her, what do you think of this? She is curious. He says that he doesn't feel any kind of magic. It is just a piece of iron. This is your magic weapon. The prota tells her that although it is common iron, it can launch a powerful attack. With this he defeated the old red man's daughter. If all the people had one of these, they could have a great level of power. She asks him if he can do more. He confidently tells her that in the world where he came from, even children could do it even if it took them some time. Editor: I guess you guys got what he meant. A little strong humor. She points the gun at him, and asks him, where did you get this? When you were arrested you didn't have it on you. He nervously tells her he had it. They just ignored it. So you still hide a lot of treasures here. She stands behind him, and tells him he has no evil aura but hides too many secrets. She won't let him leave without paying. She points it straight at his face, and without thinking he shoots. But this one stops the bullet with her fingers. The prota, seeing this, can't believe she had to be a demon. This one tells him that the power of the weapon is fine, but unfortunately it was far from being something dangerous for people like her. She warns him not to be reckless. The old red man can kill him easily. He was very stupid, so she would teach him a technique that will make you very powerful. She warns him to be prepared. This was going to hurt him. Our prota starts to scream in pain. The system warns him that he had received an ability. It was so powerful that his stats had doubled. But taking advantage of the situation, this one starts another technique called soul searching. Wanted to see all the memories of our prota. The system warns him that something is wrong and he was going to take counterattack. It warns him that he had successfully connected to the sea of memories of the other party, downloading the memory data. The leader realizes something is wrong. Her technique had turned against her. It was impossible. Our prota had no cultivation base. She was even absorbing part of her essence. Download completed. A total of 7 gigabytes of memories. Suddenly a golden aura begins to surround him. His body was absorbing the power of the boss, but this angry stops the technique, thus causing a huge explosion, and between the smoke we can see his angry face. This immediately begins to hit the prota, but stops to feel a great pain in the chest. The protagonist does not know why he had hit him, almost thinks he was going to die. He does not see her anywhere, but appears behind him, and angrily shouts that he was a swindler, sending him to fly. Editor: in case you didn't get it, basically her trying to see the protagonist's memories. The system gave him back the technique and he started transferring his power to the protagonist. We can see how he was taken flying to another place. At nightfall we see how the leader again begins to spit blood, so both begin to fall. The protagonist, when falling, does not know where he is. He turns and manages to see the leader. She was going to attack him again, but due to fatigue falls into the arms of the protagonist. Although this pushes him, she could not believe that this girl had invested his technique and absorbed his true essence. Along with that, had its cultivation base made a mess. Suddenly the ground begins to move, and you can see the big head of a snake. He is surprised to see the size of the snake. This with its tail shatters a tree, and a girl appears on top of the snake. This was Hongi. The prota tells him that he had landed there by mistake and that they were leaving. This quickly stands next to him and smells him, then gives him a kiss on the cheek. Smiling tells him that he has a good taste. She had decided that he was her man for the next 3 months. The serious waifu tells him that he was late. he was hers. She scoffs. A weak woman can't have this kind of man. The waifu warns her that she is in the realm of the human race. This was no place for a monster like her. Suddenly our hero attacks. He kindly tells her that he was not interested in her, so don't embarrass my leader. When she sees his cunning she gets excited. Now she was more interested. 3 months would not be enough. She was going to stay with him for half a year. Hearing all that, she rages and begins to attack the monster girl. She dodges and inhales some smoke, forming a powerful attack, which upon impact causes a huge acid explosion. The prota is surprised to see the ferocity of the girl. The waifu concentrates power in her fingers and sends a signal to the sky. The monster girl is happy to know that the waifu was from the kingdom of Yoshin. The waifu warns her that this place is only 100 miles away from her kingdom. In a short time the elite of the kingdom will come. For mercy, I could do her a favor and let her go. The monster girl rejects her proposal. Your kingdom has invaded my kingdom several times and killed many. The demon emperor sent her to teach her a lesson. The waifu tells her that she alone will not be able to take over his kingdom. But she smilingly tells him that she did not come alone. If she was here to fight, how could she not bring more people? At that moment the elite of the kingdom arrives and greets the waifu. Then the battle begins. But we see how the beasts are dominating the fight. The waifu tells everyone that she will go to the secret kingdom to get magic weapons capable of damaging the monsters, to retreat to the kingdom and protect it. Fleeing the waifu along with the protagonist, the monster girl seeing this orders to chase the man who is next to the girl. He has to live no matter what. Our badly wounded prota was carrying the waifu. Earlier he had made a trap, deceiving the giant bear with an explosion. Although it didn't work as well as he expected, the bear was still alive. He has a plan, and with the leaves already wet, he orders his pet to take this to another direction so that the bear takes longer to find them. The prota knows that without the waifu's help they will be caught, so he buys an adrenaline injection in the system store. In the movies he saw that the injections go straight to the heart, so without much time available he does it. The waifu wakes up quickly, and before he gets hit he clarifies that he was trying to wake her up. The waifu, seeing that he wanted to save her at a time like this, thinks that maybe it was not malicious, and asks him to inform her of the current situation. He tells her that a bear was chasing them but managed to distract him and lead him down the wrong path. She tells him to follow him, that he knew a place to hide. They arrive at a waterfall. This was the place where they had met. The waifu touches the wall and invokes a seal, but the bear had already found them. He jumps to attack them, but the protagonist is quickly taken by the waifu. When he arrives she warns him that the spiritual pressure of the place is 10 times greater than the outside. If he wanted to survive it would be better not to touch anything. The system congratulates him for having found a new place, receiving improvements in his stats and weapons. He asks the waifu where were they. The waifu tells him that it is the secret realm of his Yaoshan sect, the place where they buried the swords of the chiefs of past generations. This was one of the 3,000 small worlds connected to the main world. The emergence of the most numerous sects in the world are maintained thanks to the secret realms connected to these. Basically they were a backup to the main sect. Every 100 years this secret realm can birth a sacred wooden star from the sky. It can make you immensely more powerful, and if you are by my side at the time of the merger, it could break the limitations of man's refinement. Editor, remember that in this world men have a limit, and that is why they are weaker. But if the protagonist managed to absorb some of the star's power he could break that imitator. At that moment the bear was breaking the portal. She tells him that the spiritual pressure and the power of the demons here are repelled, so it will take time to enter. The secret of this place was not how to enter but how to leave. While they were leaving the bear had managed to enter. This was the secret world within the secret world. Here the spiritual pressure was even greater. Even the system suffered from errors. Suddenly the bear had made it inside and was about to attack, but his body begins to break from the inside. The spiritual pressure here is 1,000 times greater than the outside world. Anyone who tries to use magic will explode and die. Suddenly an arrow is shot at the dying bear. He asks the waifu who they are. These were the natives of this secret realm, and they are born with dragon blood. Here there are enemies. They start shooting at them, but the waifu takes out a shield and they manage to protect themselves. She jumps and attacks without mercy. One of them attacks her without caring about the life of his own companion. She stops the gun and manages to kill him. The waifu clarifies to the prota that what she had just used were martial arts. A leader to be in command of the sect must know martial arts. It was his duty every 100 years to obtain the power of the star, because she had downloaded her memories. The protagonist knows that the leader's parents were killed by another sect and she was saved by Xian Ling, the former head of the Yaoshan sect. Because of her enormous talent, Xianling took her to the mountain and accepted her as a disciple. Xianling was assassinated 10 years ago and passed the position of leader to her before he died. But the forces within the sect have not yet fully accepted her as leader. Suddenly he is brought out of his thoughts and silenced by the waifu, who was looking at him intently. Some natives were passing by the place at that time. Having her so close, the protagonist had started to get excited. A man is a man, and you right now are still thinking about perverted things. There will be many dangers on the way. If you don't want to go, you can go back to the sect, and if things get ugly they can teleport you at any moment. He refuses. He had to protect her, and besides he wanted to see what the celestial star was. She looks at him with a smile when she hears him. From far away we can see how someone called Tu Tian spied them ready to attack them. But after walking for a while, our protagonist presumes that thanks to his skills they have avoided confrontations. Our waifu has a bad feeling. Things here are very calm. In front is the sacred wood forest. She warns that here there will be female dragon bloods protecting the forest, which are more difficult to deal with than the male dragon bloods. Our protagonist wonders if in this secret realm, women are also better than men. Suddenly, from below, a lance attacks our protagonist's spiritual creature. Then it attacks them, but our waifu intervenes and counterattacks with her sword. The attack was about to hit the intruders, but the girl from before appears, intervening in the attack, thus creating an explosion. After this, they fall in front of our waifu. The girl irritably tells them they are very slow. She had been waiting for them for quite some time. Our protagonist wonders if this is a female dragon blood. She seemed very young. The girl envies our waifu's sword and also admits that the man by her side is very handsome. She clarifies that today she, Tu Tian, will defeat her with her sword and then take her man. Our waifu, annoyed, calls Tu Tian little sister. You are not an adult yet and you already want to steal men, she says. Tu Tian smilingly tells him that in old age, youth is the king, not an old dish like your sister. Our waifu gets upset at being called old and attacks fiercely, but Tu Tian remains unfazed and endures her attack head-on without receiving any damage. She shouts that it is her turn and counterattacks. Our protagonist is surprised to see the power of her attack. The waifu jumps and attacks from above, managing to connect her attack, but is surprised to see that it did nothing. She steps back and asks Tu Tian if she has condensed the power of Shenmu Tianqing in her skin. She, arrogantly, clarifies that he should not think that only the human race can cultivate. This was her world, the so-called Sky Star, descended from warriors. The waifu tells our protagonist to get out of here. She would fight first. Tu Tian jumps and tells her it's too late. She won't let them go. She blocks the attack with her sword but is sent flying due to her strength. Our waifu, injured, knows she was at a disadvantage in this world. She couldn't use Yuan energy, couldn't transform her body with QI. But to our waifu's surprise, the protagonist stands in front of her to protect her. Tu Tian tells him that beautiful men are weak, so get out of the way. It was fun, but a man can never stand in front of Tu Tian. Our prota, as in the movies, pulls a shotgun out of his pants. Tu Tian stops and is surprised to see this. He aims at her and, without thinking, shoots, hitting her shoulder and sending her flying, surprising everyone. Our waifu is surprised. This place, the spiritual pressure was very high. Even if the girl condensed power in her skin, our protagonist's attack managed to hurt her. He was a true Jedi of cultivation. Tu Tian, angry, asks what kind of weapon it was, how it could be possible that it shattered her body even with the power of Shenmu Tianqing. But regardless, she attacks again. And before our protagonist could shoot, she cuts his weapon in half and prepares a tremendous attack. But our protagonist dodges it and throws a smoke grenade. But Tu Tian cuts it and attacks multiple times. Angered, she tells our protagonist not to run like a coward and attacks again, destroying everything in her path. Our waifu can only watch in amazement. Tu Tian thinks it's all over, but from the smoke emerges our protagonist with hardened skin. The waifu couldn't believe it. In this place, the spiritual pressure was enormous. If she tried to use her essence, she would die, but he could. Our protagonist tells Tu Tian that she miscalculated one thing. The Ryatsu of this world doesn't affect me. Tu Tian, angry, tells him to test how many blows his skin can endure. Our protagonist, knowing he doesn't have much time left, starts shooting. Tu Tian protects herself with her enormous sword. Her knights, concerned for her, attack our protagonist, but before being hit, he hardens his skin with essence. Our protagonist gets angry. There was no martial honor in hitting people in the face. Tu Tian knew that this boy was not normal. It was impossible to use human energy here. With no other option, wounded, she decides to flee, but before leaving, she shouts that she will have her revenge, while our protagonist wonders why she is running. Just a moment ago she seemed so fierce. Our waifu tells him that maybe he was scared to know that he could use refined energy in this world. The waifu tells him that the spiritual pressure here is the celestial barrier that formed when the world was created. No matter how high the cultivation level, there is absolutely no ability to disobey, unless you become an immortal. Our prota tells her that maybe he was a bit special and with interest guards Tu Tian's back. The system congratulates him for gathering such rare information. He has contributed 1% to the research. Thus the system heals him and enhances his abilities, even giving him an ability called Li Daxian's Tiger. It allows his spiritual creature to level up by absorbing remains of superior creatures. Our prota, not understanding very well, tells his spiritual creature to be careful, but he sees how it eats the sword without any problems. Our waifu says they have to move before they discover their plan. They arrive at the Sky Star tree, which was excessively tall. Our waifu puts her hand on the bark and orders the tree to give up its fruit. The prota was lucky. The star of this century turned out to be metallic, which matched perfectly with our prota. She thinks that on the way here, they hadn't even encountered a female dragon blood. She feels bad. They must hurry. She holds our prota's tunic and leads him towards the fruit. Inside it, the energy evaporated his clothes. Our waifu hugs him tightly and whispers in his ear to endure and be strong. At that moment, our prota feels immense pain coursing through his body. Our waifu begins to be surrounded by light as she transforms. Our prota has a clay shell, which is breaking, symbolizing that he is now a new person. Our waifu tells him that it is the impurity of spiritual resistance in your body. Without the celestial stars to help temper your body, this is the first stage of chi refinement. Although the roots of male cultivation are normal, yours are terrible. Our prota tells her that cultivation doesn't just depend on the roots. No matter how good the roots are, one shot is enough. He realizes that after tempering the body, the attributes have almost doubled, but he wonders why there was no increase in intelligence. This world hated him. Our waifu looks at him closely and tells him that in future practices, she will beat him up a bit to make him uglier. The prota says it's not his fault for being handsome. She tells him that a handsome man can only attract bees and butterflies and make your heart flutter. Making you ugly will be for your own good. He, annoyed, tells her she is a shameless sexist. Every place begins to tremble and they are imprisoned by bone columns. From the sky, some women in dark attire can be seen. This was the Queen of Dragon Blood, who wonders if it was they who stole the treasure of the celestial star. Our prota, nervous, denies it. The Queen praises his bravery. He was discovered by her daughter and dared to steal the celestial star from her world and orders to shoot, but our prota quickly shields the waifu from the attacks. Now his power had increased. He didn't even feel the arrows. Our waifu quickly jumps and attacks the columns, but they don't receive any damage and even began to release some kind of gas. Our prota warns that something is wrong with those bones. The Queen orders them to surrender, and they may still earn their lives. Otherwise, she had hundreds of ways to kill him. Her daughter, Tu Tian, screams that she wants our protagonist. She wanted to take him and make him hers. Our prota, offended, starts shooting, and the bullets pass between the columns, managing to hurt some guards. The Queen is protected, but from above, a bomb is thrown, exploding in her face and injuring her. Furious, she orders them to ring the bell and summon the spirits of sacrifice. She wants the spirits of sacrifice to swallow their souls. As she says this, a huge shadow sweeps through the place. Everyone looks to the sky. Tu Tian tells our prota that if he pleads now for his life, she can help him plead and keep him for herself. Otherwise, when the spirit of sacrifice of our race comes, you will only have a dead end, and your spiritual soul will be annihilated. The Queen tells him to stop insisting. The sacrifice has already been placed on the altar. Our prota asks the waifu what spiritual sacrifice means. She explains that the sacrifice is the holy patron of the tribe and seems to be a powerful beast. Both could feel the great power, and from the sky, this apparent huge bird appears, but it was actually a small bird. Our prota insults it. He thought a huge beast was going to appear. Why did a chicken show up? The bird insults him. How dare he call the king a hen? Kneel down and admit your mistake. Human, you seem so weak that you dare to be called the great king. Do I have to be a fairy or something? sarcastically tells him to kneel before this immortal immediately. He says that the venerable immortal name is rubbish in front of the great king. He had finished off so many people that it was impossible to count them. Our prota keeps mocking and even thinks of making the chicken his pet. The bird was already tired of such humiliation, so it releases a purple flame towards them. The system informs the prota that an attack filled with chi is detected, so the system has the ability to slowly absorb it. The prota admits that the bird was a bit strong, but this fire was very cold. The bird gets angry. That attack should have claimed his soul. Our prota calls it an idiot. It couldn't even make a good fire attack, and sarcastically asks the waifu if she can see her soul burning in fire. She sternly tells him that the fire of karma is the fire of hell. It uses bad karma as fuel. Once you go crazy, you can never get rid of it. The prota asks if it is enough not to do bad things so that it doesn't affect him. Our waifu tells him that not only bad actions affect, but also any evil thoughts. When that venomous fire touches you, even an immortal Buddha must retreat. Our prota can't believe it. That fire didn't look dangerous at all. The bird tells him he can't understand it because of his stupidity. Our prota, annoyed, tries to grab it, threatening to pluck every feather and clean it once it gets out. But one of the flames touched our waifu. He tries to put it out, but it quickly spreads throughout her body. The bird tells them not even to try to extinguish it, just wait and die so he can eat them. Our prota, angry, starts shooting at it, calling it a stinky chicken, and will make it pay if it tries to burn their leader. Some bullets hit it, and angrily, he tells it how dare it attack the bird king. Our prota aims at its face and yells at it to put out the fire or he will turn it into a beehive. The bird transforms and hits our prota in the face, sending him flying and crashing into a column. Our prota mocks him, saying that he doesn't even know how to hit. The bird, tired, thinks about tearing the protagonist apart, but he infuses chi into his body and instantly hits the bird in the stomach. The bird is surprised that he can use chi in this place. But our prota, without wasting time, hits him again. The bird king, very angry, concentrates energy and attacks with its feet, but with little effort. Our prota grabs it by the neck and orders it again to put out the fire or he will kill it. The frightened bird tells him that he only knows how to provoke the fire. He didn't know how to extinguish it. The protagonist, upon hearing this, turns worried, and the bird takes advantage and escapes, calling our prota a fool. Not even a god can extinguish those flames. Our prota, angry, starts shooting at it, but he runs out of bullets. He hits the bone columns, but they are made of bones from an ancient magical creature. He can't even move them. Our waifu weakly calls our prota. He turns worried, seeing how the flames are consuming her. He doesn't know what to do. The system could only protect him. The bird was already savoring its meal, but he thinks of his magical creature. Previously, he had been able to eat a sword with chi. So, he starts eating the bone columns. The angry bird tries to stop him, but he is too slow. Thanks to the power of the script, our prota takes out some healing bandages. Maybe they can delay the fire. He wraps his hand and sees how it works, so he begins to cover his whole body. Our waifu suddenly erupts in electricity. Everyone looks amazed as she can now use chi. Her whole body is surrounded and filled with energy. The prota, upon seeing her, thinks perverted thoughts and asks our waifu how she can now use chi. She says that apparently the bandages are capable of protecting her from the spiritual pressure. It was incredible. The bird, upon seeing this, was scared. It made no sense. Our waifu, angry, asks if it wanted to eat her. The bird quickly tries to escape, but a bolt of lightning hits it. They begin to chase it. Our prota doesn't know how the king of this world is a chicken. Our waifu explains that the red bird is an ancient relic. It was evident that its strength has degraded to the initial stage, but they needed to capture it. The value of the beast blood is immeasurable.